It's the SportsZone Unfiltered, brought to you by HEB.
Welcome back in SportsZone Unfiltered on the KUBE. I'm Paul Gallant. He's John Lopez, and with us a very special guest to talk about the Final Four right here in H-Town. We've got Ron Cottrell of the Houston Baptist Huskies in the house. What's going on?
Not much. Just trying to get ready for the weekend. It's an exciting time to be in Houston.
Well, obviously, it's not a coincidence why we have you here this weekend. Big weekend. We're all giant college basketball fans. Of course, he's the head coach. So I want to just keep it nuts and bolts, man. Let's start with the Final Four here, team by team. Not necessarily a scouting report, but kind of paths to victory and how a team might have some trouble in this tournament. Let's start with Oklahoma.
Oklahoma certainly has a very experienced team. You got a Buddy Hield, who's a terrific basketball player, but they have some really good pieces around him as well that understand what they have to do to be successful as a team. I really love their team chemistry, the fact they understand how to play together and play at a very high level. But they're really going to rely on Buddy, I think, to have the ball in his hands at crunch time to score.
So, against them, one thing that A&M did, and A&M was run out of the gym, but they did, double him or keep him off the three-point line, try to get some help as he put the ball on the ground, and it worked. He only had 17 points, but then everybody else.
And that's the danger of really concentrating your efforts towards one player is all of a sudden you run the risk of someone else really stepping up and having a game outside their normal game.
Right.
But I think they have the pieces to be able to do that. They have guys who can step up, as you said, as they did against A&M.
Syracuse. What about Syracuse's path to victory?
Well,
here?
Syracuse, the zone makes everything really difficult on everyone else. It's very difficult because of their size and length to get the ball inside of their zone. So therefore, teams really rely on three-point shooting. The venue we're playing in, three-point shooting is not really the thing you want to rely on in NRG. And so I think that levels the playing field for them against North Carolina.
And that's what's interesting about this, because Buddy Hield, very good shooter from outside. He's averaging 29 points a game in this tournament. And also for North Carolina, Marcus Page is something like 13 for 27 from outside the last couple of games in this tournament. So why is it so difficult to shoot at NRG Arena?
Well, depth perception, number one. You're on an elevated floor sitting in the middle of an 80,000-seat stadium, and you don't have the traditional depth perception you have in most arenas, and it just makes it hard to focus in on something, especially the deeper you shoot from. It's going to be more difficult. Teams really have had a hard time in this particular arena historically. Anytime you've played in that arena, teams have not shot the ball very well.
More so, as you were pointing out off air, more so than even your average stadium type venue.
Yeah, there's something about the way the setup is in NRG that really has made it difficult on teams. And it really is going to come down, particularly for Oklahoma and North Carolina, because offense is really where they really make their game, is can they make those adjustments and be able to score.
So it stands to reason Syracuse will be helped. What about Nova?
They're such a gritty, dirty, get down and guard you, Big East, really the type of team you really think of when you think of old school Big East. Really our team's going to make it difficult on you to run your stuff. I think they're going to do a good job on Buddy, and they're going to make it difficult for him to get his points. And it's all about whether they can really stay in the game because of their defense, because they really struggle offensively at times.
Is Hield the best player in college basketball? I know when we look at it from an NBA prospect perspective, maybe he isn't the number one guy, but he's certainly has to have helped himself with the tournament he's
Correct.
had.
I think last year there was a lot of talk that he would be a second-round draft pick. Had he come out at that point, now he's a lottery pick. I think he is the most well-rounded player in college basketball right now because of everything he does to help his team. He's a leader on the court. He can pass, he can defend, and he can score. I think in my mind, there's no doubt.
And one more look at the last team, North Carolina. You mentioned them a couple of times, but they seem to be reliant, and maybe this helps them, get to the rack.
They really rely on their speed and open court basketball and get to the rim. And I really think that's going to help them offensively in the venue that we're talking about, not to have to rely on perimeter shots as much as most teams would have to against Syracuse. They want to get out and run and get to the rim and finish at the rim. And if they're able to do that, that gives them a big advantage.
They've beaten every single team they played in this tournament by 14 points or more. And when you have a team like that, I mean, it's just got to be really intimidating, no matter how well or much of a Cinderella run you've been on. Like for a team like Syracuse, they're playing the best of any team, I think, in the tournament right now.
I think it cuts both ways. I think there's no doubt if you polled everyone, probably 80% of the people would say North Carolina is the odds-on favorite to win. But that also carries with it some pressure as well. Walking into this venue in a completely different environment than you've played in all year, with that pressure, in Syracuse zone, you never know what can happen.
All right, we do definitely need to talk about the Huskies. HBU, you've done a tremendous job. Third full year in the Southland Conference. And really, SFA, more particularly, Thomas Walkup became a real darling. You guys had them on the ropes. I mean, your program seems to be right on the cusp here.
Yeah, we're making moves. There's no doubt. We started 3 years ago. We were at the bottom of the league and really just kind of getting our feet wet and getting used to what the league was all about and everything. And then we really made some strides a year ago. And then this past year, made it to the semifinals of the conference tournament, got beat by SFA in the semifinals, finished fourth in the regular season, and have a really, really good nucleus of guys coming back. I'm really excited about our returners and then what we've signed. So I really think our future is really bright to make hopefully that next step in the league.
You lost a close one to UNC Greensboro in the College Basketball Invitational. So what's the next step for the program and for those players that you think are on the rise?
Well, we've already had meetings and talking about that, and kind of with the seniors in particular. We have a 5-group senior class that's really looking towards, they built this program to where we are now. What's going to happen your senior year? Obviously, you go from 13th to 7th to 4th in the conference standings. The next step is to vie for the conference championship, and I think our guys are really poised to have an off season to put themselves in that position.
All right, now the program, I'm a big supporter because he's just a good guy, and he really is doing it the right way. You got some events coming up for the athletic department maybe that, if people want to get involved with what you're doing, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, May 8th, we're having our golf tournament for our athletic department, fundraiser for our athletic department. All money goes towards scholarships for our student athletes across the board in every program. It's really important for us to be able to do that and go out and raise interest and dollars for our athletic department. And then obviously, us as coaches, we're involved in April recruiting right now, so we're getting ready for that.
And I know we're kind of up against it, but real quick, you live in Houston, Texas. You can find some players here. So I got to believe now that you're gaining some traction, you're getting a lot better reception.
Now that we're in the Southland and we're full-fledged NCAA Division I members, we really have come back into our home base and really started making some real strides in recruiting in the Houston area, no doubt.
Good deal.
He's Ron Cottrell, the Houston Baptist Huskies. Best of luck over this off-season. Enjoy a little golf and maybe 2016.
And he's going to be hosting. I guess you got some golf coming this weekend, huh?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe
there you go.
Hosting all his friends.
All right, the Houston Baptist Huskies and Ron Cottrell, of course. We're going to wrap our show up with champs and chumps next. Our champ, that man knows him some swag. We'll explain that on the flip side. Don't go anywhere. SportsZone Unfiltered on the KUBE.
Don't go anywhere. The SportsZone Unfiltered will continue after the break.